Hello, product people. Welcome to the Product for Product podcast, hosted by Matt Green, data advocate and product manager, and Moshe Mikanovsky, product leader and author. Our goal is to serve the product community by helping you find products that can help make your work in product management easier. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Product for Product podcast.
Welcome back. Today, we're happy to have Guy Rahamim on the show to talk about his experiences as a customer success manager, how CS works with product, and the tools he's using in his role. How are you doing, Guy?
I'm great. Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Happy to
Hey,
have you.
Guy.
Hey, Moshe. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, it's really nice to having you on the show, Guy. And usually what we start is like, tell us about yourself.
It's a good way. It's a great way to start.
Yep.
So I'm 35 years old. I live in Tel Aviv, Israel. And currently I'm a customer success manager for a B2B SaaS company called LinearB. LinearB, it's a platform, data platform for engineering teams to gain visibility and to drive continuous improvement in their coding pipeline, delivery, and planning. So we integrate with Git and also with the project management tool, usually a Jira or Shortcut, and we help them to get insights for their coding pipeline and also projects that they set up to see planning accuracy, added work, carryovers, and how to get better at that.
Oh, nice. So yeah, it actually sounds like something we could do a whole episode about in the future.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah. So maybe you'll help us find a good user to talk with. That will be cool.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
How did you get to customer success?
Yeah, wow. That is actually like a very interesting story. In customer success, I started my journey actually. I'll make it a long story short. In Israel, we have a compulsory military service. So I was an officer. I served for 4.5 years. After I finished with my military service, I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a security attaché. So I had a good time. I was traveling around, being to multiple places. Yeah, I came back to Israel and I actually started dentistry school. So, the first 3 years I had a blast. I was really enjoying. I loved what I was studying. But then I got to the clinical phase and I started to ask myself questions like, is that what I want to do? Is where my passion is? And I said and I made a smart, maybe some would say smart, some would say brave, some would say stupid, to take a pause of my studies. Yeah. And during that time, I was thinking what I want to do. And I said, let's try high tech. And I joined a satellite company called Imetsat as a satellite operator. They offered in-house training. And yeah, I saw an opportunity. I jumped on it. So I was a satellite operator and I joined the customer support department. So I was working with customers and I started to feel like this is where my passion is. This is what I want to do. And after that, I started looking for different roles. And this is how I ended up myself starting to be a customer success manager for a cybersecurity company called IMVision. So IMVision were about API security. So I did this role for a year and then I decided it's time. They were platform as a service and still B2B. I decided I wanted to see also software as a service. So then I advanced to my current position.
Nice. So yeah, from officer in the army to security attaché to dental school. That's a very interesting route, but hey, whatever works, right?
Yes, whatever rocks your boat.
Exactly.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I'm sure there is a lot of other stories like that. And I'm sure we'll hear more as we go in the interview. Tell us a bit more about what is customer success for everyone out there that, either starting in building products and they've heard about customer success. They might have worked with some, but they're not sure what is it actually that you're doing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think to begin with that, it's important maybe to understand the concept or the business model of SaaS B2b. So usually you would sell a license for a year with an X number of seats. and you want to retain these customers because they can help you to drive growth. So we also know by researchers that bringing a new logo for your company, you need to invest 8 times more in resources and time and money than retaining an existing customer. And this is where customer success comes in play. So usually after the sales process is concluded, customer success would come in after a handoff from an account executive, and will onboard the new customer with the solution or product and teach them best practices and help them to see value, because usually the reason why they purchased a service or a product is to gap over some pain point. So either their current process was not working well enough and they want to improve it, or they simply say, hey, this is a blind spot and I need to understand what's going on here. So there are 2 different types of pain and 2 different ways respectively addressed to it. So after onboarding and value realization, basically your job is to make the customer happy and satisfied with the value he's getting, help them achieve their goals that they initially set for when they purchase your service, maybe help them define their goals. This is also important. And when you get to the end of the term they purchased, you would want to see them retaining, and happy customers would also expand, would buy more seats. And if your company offers more than one solution, so maybe a cross-sell would also be in place. So this is organically by driving value. This is the outcome that you are wishing to see. Let's call it this way, if everything goes as planned.
Mm-hmm. All right. So how do you interact in with the customers, but also with your internal other teams? And then what I'm driving to get us into product, right?
Yeah.
Tell us first about your world, and then we'll move to that.
Yeah. So I think what is special about customer success is that you pretty much involved with both almost all of the internal stakeholders you have in your company, and obviously external stakeholders because you are working with them. So usually our customers, we would communicate with them via Slack, email, and obviously online meetings such as Zoom and MS Teams. And the interaction that we need to bring back to our product is usually feature requests or some very special use cases. And I think this is also a good chance to shout out for Eran Shitrit. He is our VP of product. They're doing amazing work, and I'm very happy to have him to work side by side with him. So usually I would loop in product when there are feature requests or some very specific or unique use cases that his expertise can help here to maybe shed some light and understand and break down the use case, and to see how our product can offer a solution for that. Mm-hmm. So after gathering the feature requests, I would go to product and tell them, hey, customer X requested some modification or something that doesn't exist in our product, so he would be able to see more value in it. So this is usually the talk track, and I need to be very specific on what they asked, how it's going to help them, and why the current solution that we offer is not already there in the product. Because if I don't gather all this information, I give like the non-complete picture. And of course, it's up to the product to decide, is this use case is valid and could it help other customers? So after product answered these questions, they would go to the engineering to understand if it's technically possible. And they also need to get an estimation on how much it's going to cost us in our next sprint. We work Scrum in our engineering organization. So there is that process. When I interact with the product team like on a daily basis, but we would have also ceremonies that we discuss about what are, let's say, the most important feature requests that we have, and we need to set some sort of priority. So before that, in our customer success team, we have a couple of customer success managers. We would do something of like a plan poker. I don't know if you're familiar with the term. So like one time we tried like to have like a spreadsheet, and each one of us get like a number of points that we have, and we can share these points among the feature requests. And then we can say, okay, this feature request, all of us thinks that are important and is a must have, and it's like a blocker for renewal. So that should be like first in line. So the place where it all flows in the end, it's we have a Jira board, a Kanban, where we keep all the things, and we have different swim lanes. Of course, we have a backlog, and we have different swim lanes or columns that we drag the feature request into, like that we set them by order, what is from most important to least important. We also put like a price tag on the customer that asked for that. Product is responsible to put the price tag, engineering price tag, like how many story points or how many days we can fit that. Maybe some of the feature requests are super valid, like supporting a new integration, but that would be further down the roadmap. So we also have a swim lane that this is totally valid, but will be considered on a later stage as part of the roadmap and not for the next 2 sprints. So this is usually the ceremony or process that we are having with product in LinearB.
Sounds interesting. Sounds as though CS is kind of an extension of product. It's an ambassador of the product itself. I was just thinking with product management, you're so focused on building the solution, solving the problem, that maybe you can't always focus on developing the success of the technical side of things or the customer itself. So I think CS really does serve a valuable role.
Yeah, and I think it goes both ways. It's vice versa. Like I'm the voice of the customer, bringing like things that come, directly from the customers. And also if I can act as an extension for product and get feedback on beta features and do all kind of these things, I think this is a really good case that the sum equals more of the sum of its parts. It's like 1 + 1 = 3 here. So it's a win-win situation all around, and customers are also part of this win-win situation, because when you understand the bigger picture, it's a lot easier for you to make processes a lot more smoother. So as part of my work as a customer success manager in LinearB, you work with engineering teams. So you also get the full picture. You see, you talk to C-level executives like CTO and a VP of product, but you also talk to team leads. You also talk to developers themselves. You talk to group managers. You talk to product managers, because some product managers also have their take in our product, like the projects that they can build projects out of Jira. So they can create a project from one board or multiple board. They can select if it's Scrum or Kanban, and they can look at things that are of interest to them, like throughput in Kanban, or planning accuracy for sprints or for a project, to see like how much you plan, how much you complete, what is the added work, because we take like some grace period. We say like in sprints. So maybe of course I think the product managers that are listening to us know that in the first day of a sprint, so Jira issues tend to flow in and flow out. So we give a grace period of 24 hours. And after that 24 hours, we take a snapshot and we tell them, hey, everything that flows in after 24 hours, this would be your added work. So this is unplanned work. It could be attributed to bugs, because no one plans bugs ahead. And it could also be due to poor planning.
Yep.
And you can see the capacity each team has. And am I overcommitting? This is like an important question. Or undercommitting. You don't see that much often, but a team that always delivers what they plan for, maybe they can be pushed a little bit further. Maybe we can ask for another 3 to 5% in the next sprint, see how it goes. So I think this is really interesting aspect, and what helps me to understand also the bigger picture when you have experience with multiple customers and, enterprise customers, scale up customer, smaller customer, you see Kanban, you see Scrum, you see Scrumban. So you kind of get like everything out there. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see that how other companies operate, how your own organization operate, and you start to get some insights about previous places you used to work in. You would say, I wonder why they did it like this way or that way, or this could really help formalize a process and help everyone to be on the same page. So this is very interesting. Like I learned a lot in this past 6 months.
Nice. I can also tell you that I've seen people coming from customer success and also customer support. So sometimes there is some overlap between the two, but sometimes there are separate teams. But I've seen people coming from that and becoming amazing product managers because you build so much empathy to the users and their problems and what they need, that you know in and out, you really become like the customer. So a lot, if that is in your future, who knows, maybe you love customer success, maybe you will move one day to product management. But I've seen very successful product managers doing that transition.
I think that today I can tell about myself that if I weren't in customer success, I would be most definitely in product. So it's really, really interesting. And sometimes, you feel the pain. You feel the pain that the customers are going through because you are an expert in your product. You spend the most time. You're like, I don't want to say a manual QA, but you click on every bit and byte. You should click on that at least maybe once a day. So you know the flows, you know what is working better, you know what is working less better. And when you hear it from customers, it also reassures what you feel about specific asks. So of course you have feature requests coming out from customers, but you also have feature requests coming out from customer success, because we understand already what the customer is going to say on a new feature or on an existing flow that can be improved.
Yeah. So we covered in the past a whole list of products that include some feedback components in there. I know that some companies, when they're using those, customer success will be part of feeding into that with the feedback. You mentioned that you were actually using Jira for that, right?
Yeah, we are using Jira. I don't think if that would be the best place to share the feedback. We have a channel that called Customer Success Story Snippets. So usually when we have interesting use cases or interesting conversation we had with customers, this is the place where they will flow in. Besides the feature request and that everything is mapped in Jira, this is a place where you bring more color and you can pretty much quote what the customer said in his own words. So that would really help for product, for engineering, to understand how people feel about the products, because I think there is also a sense of sentiment that you feel towards something that you are using, because you can say, hey, okay, it's like it answers what I'm looking for. I understand the value I'm getting for it, but my sentiment towards that is maybe if you need to scale it from 1 to 10, it would be a 7. Why? Because my experience, because some flows are more difficult and less intuitive than others. So when you hear the exact words that customers use, sometimes you gain more insights on, surveys. Like we use NPS in customer success and we use CSAT. So we use this kind of surveys to understand, but having a conversation, and I usually find, having open questions to the customers, like let's have an open discussion. What is your feedback? How do you use the product? What is working well for you? What is not working well for you? How do you measure things? What do you consider good? What do you consider not good? If it's not good, what do you do to remediate that? What do you do to improve that? So all of being able to ask the right questions, this is a skill that I learned from our product, because product thinks about this question that I, as a CSM, when I was more junior, or when I joined the LinearB, I wasn't necessarily thinking about these questions. So I think working side by side with product make you a lot more professional as a CSM at being able to drive an immediate value to your customer. So if you teach CSMs to think like product, so you cut, I don't want to say you cut the middleman, but I wouldn't necessarily have to say, let me take that to product. So I would say less times. So instead of like 10 out of 10, I would say 6 out of 10. And this is huge. This is like 40% that I can give them answers. I can ask the right questions, so I would know to take and give like better insights to product on what is it that they're looking for to hear.
And it goes to what Matt was saying before, that it becomes an extension of product, really.
Yeah, that's like we go over, but we get to the same place in the end.
Yeah.
I think it's important to ask those right questions. I think that's a good comment you made there, because product managers, you might say, hey, what do you like about the product? But that's not going to give you the information you ultimately need to make it better. You need to ask, like, what don't you like? How can we make this better?
Yep.
And also, while you were saying that, I was thinking that many of us, when we work, we don't always have customer success in place. So it's really up to us to ask those questions, and not every product manager will know all the right questions to ask. I mean, this is also a skill that needs to be developed over time. So you're definitely in a good place where you learn that from product. But in some cases, you might be teaching other product managers in the future how to do that. So it could be something you will actually influence product managers as well in the future. So yeah, like going back to my previous question, it's not that I'm advocating for feedback systems or anything like that, but whatever really works. So for you, it seems like this channel works, where you actually share those discussions with the clients, and everyone in the company, and especially in product, can see that and can get value from that, right?
Yeah, so it's not only product. So in this channel, we have both. We have the sales team, we have product, we have product marketing, we have marketing, we have support, we have obviously customer success, we have the CTO, we have the CEO. So it's kind of like we believe in in LinearB, we believe in transparency and sharing the stories across the boards, and you never know where the good ideas will come flowing in from, or who has a thought about how to better use the product. So, when everything, like all the information flows into the right place, so we have a lot of ideas here, like you can share the knowledge and also about feedback. I think that you have the usage. So I think one of the obvious values you have to work in a SaaS company, that you have visibility on how customers are using your product. So we have, for us as a customer success team, so we use a CS tool to give us insights, and we build health score to indicate how customers are doing in terms of usage and adoption. And we also use a third-party tool to give us a deeper insights on the flows that customers are doing, like which tabs or features or pages they spend time in, what would be their flow from this page to that page, how many people are using a different feature. That we see that customers that adopt your product well will show usage across all the features that you suggest, and not a few of them. So I think that would be, like I heard like the other day that, data is the new oil. So everybody wants data. Everybody wants to be data driven. And I think as CS and product, you should be data driven and be able to share stories based on data. So you have the customer success to bring contacts, to bring the voice of the customer, and to hear the customer in his or her own words, how they feel about the product and how they use it, and see if it correlates with the data that you gather. So I think this would be the ultimate feedback loop to close.
So that tool that you're using, is that one that you built in-house, or is that
No. It's from a vendor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's okay if you want to mention it. If not, that's fine as well.
Yeah, it's Amplitude. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
We are very familiar with
Very
it.
familiar.
Yeah, a free commercial.
Yeah.
And like I said before, we're not endorsing any specific product, but we had an episode very early in our podcast about Amplitude.
Yeah, that's great. And the point you're making about being data-driven and analytics, I know you've spoken about that in the past. In terms of CS measurement of data, measurement of success, that's something that's fueling this success space.
Yes, definitely. Of course, you have, like, when you're scaling up, you cannot put the same amount of attention and time and to share it equally with all your customers. Customers are not the same, like people are not the same. Some of them have higher ARR. Some of them are in different stages of their customer journey. Some of them are onboarding. Some of them are up for renewal. So you need to focus your energy at the points that matter. And I'm a great believer that a successful onboarding is the first step towards a successful renewal. So I would focus a lot of efforts on the onboarding. And towards renewal, you don't want to be surprised that a customer will tell you, hey, like, I'm not going to renew 1 month prior. So if that happened, you need to ask yourself questions. How did I not know about that earlier? And so we use this health score to help us indicate which customers needs our focus now, which customer is not logging in, which customer is not utilizing the whole range of features that we offer. And if you don't have any data, you would just like go all over the place, and you don't want to get to this place. And when you come to talk to a customer, you want to talk value. You don't want to waste their time. You don't want to have a conversation that could be an email, that could be a Slack message. When you get on a call, you want to tell a story. But if you tell a story and you don't back it up with facts, so it's just a story. It's a random story. I could also tell you a legend or a fairy tale. I could like read you The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and it would be equally the same as if I don't back it up with some facts. So you want to see facts. You want to see how your usage led to an improvement in a specific metric, or how adopting a new feature reduced the number of times that, I don't know, you have to go back and forth or something in that sense. So of course we are in the data business. We help customers to gain visibility on their data. And this is actually, it's very funny because we are talking about, obviously it's a product podcast, but usually the R&D teams, they have the highest budget usually in companies. Right. But usually we see that some customers have blind spots. And, you know, making the decision that you want to be data driven, this is the first step towards improvement. And to be able to manage your teams better and also work better with product, you have to know how to link all of these links together. And this is what we offer, basically. This is our value proposition.
You are talking like a product manager, I'm telling you.
I'm going to share with my with my VP of product. I'm going to share this episode. He will be happy.
Yeah. Changing before our eyes.
Yeah. No, and that just shows that there is such a big synergy between the two, and how important it is for us to work together. And I think this is really the core of what we're trying to say here.
Yeah, I think to add to it, I think that customer success and product are the closest, departments, operations that really correlate well together. And if you don't have a synergy or harmony between these two, so something's got to give, because product, you know, they have to answer to sales, because sales need to recruit new customers and we need to have new features in our roadmap. but they also need to answer to CS because we need to retain customers. They also have to, answer to the founders and to the CEO because they want to direct the ship to where they see it, where they see fit, and like it makes sense. They are the managers and the most important stakeholders you have. So I think being a product manager puts you in a very delicate spot, and you always need to maintain balance. If you lean towards to sales too much, you can get pushbacks. And if you lead to CS too much, you can also get pushback. So I think this is very impressive to see seasoned and veteran VP products or product managers, how they can, juggle between all these balls and still come and deliver and come up with the most precise use case and hone it and keeping most of the customers happy. Like, you cannot get, obviously you can never give customers all their feature requests. You need to understand what is doable, but sometimes things are doable, but simply it's like too much of a niche use case.
Right.
And you cannot do that because then you're going to miss out on other things. So it's all matter of, if something comes in, something else gotta get out.
Prioritization.
So that's a challenge. Like, being a product, it's like a huge challenge, and I have the utmost respect to product, and this is like an essential part of the success of each company. And I have a friend that told me, like, if you ever think about opening a startup, so your first hire should be a product manager if you want to go somewhere, because this is the vision.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So I think we have to conclude. Where can people reach out to you?
So obviously my LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn at Guy Rahamim. I also have a Twitter account. I recently opened it. So I try to be active there as well, but definitely LinkedIn, look me up. Be happy to share, to talk, to meet. And yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Guy, for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for having me. I had the blast.
Absolutely. Thanks, Guy. And thanks to all the listeners. We really appreciate the support, and we'll talk to you next time.
Take care.